It's time to start acting morally now. These benefits of semen retention can save your life, especially if you're sad, have testosterone levels above 500, or lack the will to pursue your goals. When learning how to change your sexual energy, and have sex without ejaculating, this is particularly crucial. By increasing testosterone. Here, I'm not only discussing semen retention theory. Specifically, this study shows that testosterone increases after 3 weeks of semen retention, or this study, which shows that testosterone increases after 7 days of NoFap. No, I'm referring to long-term magic. When you have more energy for the gym and start building more muscle mass, that's when the actual testosterone benefits kick in, while avoiding the foods that kill testosterone. Or when you begin creating your financial empire and begin living your dream life. And when you completely reset your dopamine levels and in the process, free yourself from depression. Speaking of which, an antidepressant. Unfortunately, this is one of the most prevalent mental illnesses of the modern era, and is closely related to low testosterone. The good news is that supplements like fish oil and vitamin D, as well as things like semen retention, are highly effective at elevating your mood. Drug use is not needed. All it takes to significantly improve your health is to start taking care of the fundamentals, get more sunlight, and stop losing semen for about 3 weeks. You'll become sexier and more alluring to women. You'll exude a more aggressive, confident, and manly attitude as a result of no longer wasting your valuable masculine energy. We're discussing behavioral attraction, sometimes known as the alpha vibe. When dealing with an alpha widow girlfriend and keeping hypergamy from destroying your life, it is quite helpful. Within a few months, your appearance will significantly improve if you correctly channel all this macho energy toward weightlifting and reaching 10% body fat. Due to all this extra energy, semen retention enables looks maxing on steroids. The good news is that you'll inevitably feel more motivated to engage in fruitful activities if you direct it toward the appropriate pursuits. Mostly as a result of dopamine resistance. It can be challenging to find the motivation to work out or go to the gym when your brain is so accustomed to being inundated with dopamine by websites like Instagram or Pornhub every day. Your motivation simply soars after these things are gone, though. Better sleeping conditions. Once more, testosterone plays a key role in this one. It's somewhat of a chicken and egg situation as well. Sleep quality suffers when testosterone levels are low. And last, getting less than 6 hours of sleep each night causes testosterone levels to further drop and cortisol levels to soar. Many men who are porn addicts struggle with sleep, but semen retention will help. You'll discover that you sleep longer and deeper, which is good for your immune system. It boosts your immune system. Things like viruses, infections, and illnesses are less common due to semen retention. This is how powerful your masculine energy is when it's retained. It's your life's energy, and contains essential vitamins and nutrients. You'll gain more social dominance. Semen retention causes you to interact better, feel more confident in social situations, and project a more male aura. Right here, you can watch other men discussing it. As you might expect, if you take advantage of these possibilities and market yourself, they could lead to a lot more opportunities, such as possibilities for dating, women adore sexy, assertive males. Career chances, individuals will be drawn to you at meetings and work in general. Financial opportunities, as a result of your self-control, you'll make wiser financial decisions. Sky-high focus. In a world of never-ending distractions and competing for attention online, staying focused and steering clear of negative distractions is a top-tier skill in itself. I mean that with 100% seriousness. Semen retention makes this easier. Much easier. This laser focus and drive can be applied to anything. Perhaps it's a side hustle. Maybe it's a new project at work. Often it's a new hobby. Whatever it is, your mind is 100% under your control. Back in the 1950s, your grandpa and grandma didn't have to worry about this. They went to work, they got on with it, and the newspaper and sex was their entertainment. None of it was a huge dopamine distraction. But in the modern world, you need to learn how to avoid the pitfalls of the modern man, and focus destroyers are one of the biggest ones. Semen retention is your powerful weapon against these. Are these semen retention benefits sustainable? The semen retention benefits are completely sustainable, but quite a lot of guys worry about flatlining, or not ejaculating frequently enough. These are very valid concerns, but I tend to divide them into the short term and the long term. Flatlining is a short-term phenomenon that a lot of guys go through, that just fixes itself naturally. But the low ejaculation frequency is more of a long-term concern that I think requires a real solution, a more balanced one that people don't talk about enough on online forums, or in YouTube videos. I'm going to outline the solution to a low ejaculation frequency just below, and it's something you may want to think about over the long haul once you're having some success with this stuff. Here are some common fears guys have, and problems they need to work through. Flatlining. A lot of guys talk about flatlining after beginning semen retention, usually a few weeks after. Flatlining comes in two flavors. A sexual flatline, and then an emotional flatline. The sexual flatline is simply when your body is getting accustomed to no longer being completely overloaded with dopamine. It realizes the sexual activity has gone down and essentially turns on the reboot button. During this brief phase, guys often experience zero sex drive, zero interest in women, their DCK doesn't work, etc. It usually only lasts a few days though. An emotional flatline is a little different. This is where their DCK does work, but their emotions just go completely flat. They're not happy or excited about things that usually excite them. They're pretty numb about most things. This is most likely because the body is going through a dopamine overhaul, leading to most things not seem very exciting, due to the relative lack of dopamine compared to watching porn, and/or masturbating. Not ejaculating enough. This one is a little more valid from a long-term standpoint. There is a balance to be had as far as semen retention is concerned, and I believe that you should ejaculate every so often, rather than completely suppress your sex drive. When doing semen retention, you will accumulate a ton of internal energy, and this is powerful in many ways, as explained above. It will help you financially, with lifting weights, with martial arts, and with your social relationships. But you can potentially run into problems with the unhealthy release of this sexual energy in antisocial ways, or during times when you're least expecting it. You don't want this energy to magnify negative emotions, for instance. Remember that every time you ejaculate, you release some of this energy, which can be healthy over the long term in moderation. So a better method than completely repressing yourself forever may well be to ejaculate once per 3 to 4 weeks, in addition to a very active lifestyle, once you have successfully removed porn addiction from your life. That last part is key. You must remove any addictions first. Once you're free, you can release that sexual energy only as often as you truly need to, before you encounter problems. Balance out the increased energy with some downtime too. I believe the balance will vary from one man to the next. Another point is that you'll eventually start getting more women interested in you, and a very healthy way to release this sexual energy is with them, as opposed to porn, or social media. Improved self-control. Especially for most guys, NoFap offers a lofty challenge. men, and some women, are wired to be very sexual. The urge to achieve sexual release is incredibly strong. Most participants don't realize just how powerful these instincts are until they try to quit self-stimulating practices for a while. Those who experience success in sexual self-denial often report discipline in other areas of life too. Some of these include improved work performance and the ability to regulate emotions better. It seems reasonable enough that learning self-discipline or self-control in one area of life could potentially carry over to another. Self-improvement, smarter, faster, leaner. Many members who follow the NoFap agenda reported experiencing many mental and physical benefits over long periods without fapping. Men reportedly experienced a boost in morale, energy, and self-confidence. Some claim that participating in NoFap has given them somewhat superpowers. It's been said that other benefits included seeing natural muscle growth, better quality sleep, lowered stress and anxiety levels, and even enlightened spirituality. There are no scientific studies to prove these enhanced male features, but becoming more attractive and feeling better about yourself has never been seen as a negative. Addressing concerning behaviors. A good number of NoFap participants find their sexual behaviors troublesome in some way. For some it's an issue of morality or faith beliefs, but not for everyone. For nearly all, morality aside, participants tend to feel out of control in some way. They feel it isn't healthy to be unable to control their bodies. Some even go as far as to suspect a sex addiction. If a person is unable to control a behavior they want to change, it's worth deciding if it should be addressed in some way. It's helpful to evaluate our behaviors to see how they affect ourselves and others. Again, addressing unwanted behaviors in one area of life could make it easier to do so in other areas of life. Often, it's far easier to go through life without evaluating ourselves. But evaluating where we're at is the first step toward positive change. Confronting addiction. The psychology community increasingly recognizes that addictions can exist in virtually any facet of life. We can become addicted to anything from food to our hobbies to work. It isn't always just drug and alcohol addiction we have to battle. At the same time, many mental and general health professionals feel uncomfortable using the term sex addiction. In part, the challenge is that sexual libido and expression can vary drastically from person to person. If we call someone on one end of the libido spectrum a sex addict, do we then give a diagnosis to someone who has an unusually low desire for sex? Perhaps chronic abstainer. Addiction or not, some in the NoFap community have found that their preoccupation with porn and masturbation negatively impacted their lives in some way. Maybe they got fired for watching porn while at work, or their partner found out and it caused relationship problems. Other members spent too much of their free time engaged in porn and wanted to do something else with the time they deemed more productive. Or, they worried about the long-term effects of consistent hard porn use. Some of these individuals who felt too controlled by POM found NoFap to be an acceptable, confidential, and supportive solution. These participants wanted to break free from what felt like an addiction to them. NoFap provides a community for many who lack it. Why do people rally behind a professional sports team full of people they don't personally know? Sports fans may spend countless hours and lots of money just to belong to that team in some way. Psychologically, it often comes down to our human need to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. We all need to feel part of a meaningful, larger group in some way. For many, NoFap allows them to be part of a like-minded and safe community. And, since it's dealing with secretive sexual practices, it also provides an unparalleled level of transparency. That type of transparency can often be tough to find outside a community like NoFap. After all, most of us aren't going to walk up to someone at work, various social gatherings, or within our family and friend circles, and tell them about our POM habits. Many participants find it freeing to share these taboo things with the NoFap community they may never share with anyone else. When they can communicate the deepest parts of who they are and not feel judged, that creates a highly meaningful connection with others. It's hard to argue against that type of transparency and depth of discussion without judgment being healthy in some way.